Hello, this is Kishkisan, and today I'll be covering Lakaz's submission, NotGoblin MK4, which is a very interesting deck that Lakaz has made. It's a yellow-purple mid-range sort of control deck, but it's a very scary deck with the ability to finish games really fast with dopers and insta-beast, but it can also control the board exceptionally well with the Misanthropia and make remarkable comebacks with the Wonder Drug. The deck really really Lacaz's baby. Uh, uh, Lacaz showed off the deck in the Boneyard Shuffle tournament, and I think everyone was impressed by how the deck was doing and how creative it was. Because the deck really plays a lot of cards that are not really considered for most decks. But the deck is really neat and it really meshes together somehow. I think this is not a deck that I would ever think about building because it feels like uh, I would either build yellow purple extremely aggressively or extremely controlly, but I wouldn't consider the middle option that Lacaz has considered. But it really works really well. And inspired by Lakaz, I have made my own version of the deck, which I will also show off. But Lakaz is definitely the authority on yellow purple midrange, as his performance in the Boneyard Shuffle tournament speaks for itself. So the deck is really just the yellow. Uh, it makes use of the Colosseum and it tries to abuse all the strong minions and have them stick and use the Insta Beast. Dopers and Yahoos are very strong early game minions that carry buffs very nicely with the Insta Beast and the Pentacle. Zulia is really nice to clean up against aggressive decks. It's part of the control package in this deck. The twins are they're really too efficient for the 6 mana coast. And Sapple, as well as being part of the control package in the deck. And the Racers, which is almost in every purple deck. It's kind of remarkable that this deck only plays 2 Racers. I have no idea why Lakaz plays 2 Racers, but I think this is what he determined is the best build so far. Lakaz has also told me that he's constantly improving the deck. So if anyone has any feedback on the deck after playing it, I think Lakaz would be very welcoming of such feedback, as I have offered my own feedback of the deck. The Shinobi of Smoke is a staple in almost every purple deck that plays Impel. But the remarkable thing here is Shinobi of Wind. Now, Shinobi of Wind is usually not played outside of draft, as it's considered inferior to Shinobi Smoke, but I've come to really enjoy playing with Shinobi Wind in this deck. As with the Impel, it's kind of impossible to block the Shinobi of Wind. It has access to 5 lanes, I believe, with the Impel, because it has Swift. So it's extremely difficult to block for this reason, and it means that you can always block the breach effect, which is very nice to kill something on the other side of the board without necessarily having to impel and without necessarily having to move the shinobi. The in comparison to shinobi smoke, you don't have to move it across the board, and maybe you put the shinobi smoke in a position that makes it easy to kill. And both of these, the Shinobi Smoke and the Shinobi Wind, are really good carriers for the Pentacle of Flavors for different reasons. Shinobi Smoke is the teleport allows the Pentacle Flavors to really do a lot of work, and the Swift as well allows the Pentacle Flavors to do a ton of work. It's the opponent is usually playing into a Shinobi of Smoke. They're not expecting a Shinobi Wind. It doesn't really matter that much as both of them have 3 health, but the opponent is going to play around the Shinobi Smoke and is unlikely to block the Shinobi Wind, which will mean that we will probably have a free reach effect. However, this will not work as simply as that in a tournament scenario, where the opponent would know that we have a Shinobi Wind as well as a Shinobi Smoke in open deckless tournaments. But yeah, on ladder, this is definitely something that the opponent will generally assume is the Shinobi Smoke, as it's by far the most played of the Shinobis. The God of Gamers is a beefy Shinobi Smoke, which also carries the Pentacle Flavors really nicely because it does not take retaliatory damage. The back channel Captain is very nice for the draw. And Jinsoku as well as part of the control side of the deck, but it also allows us to shift minions and can help us find really nice lethals by shifting stuff, as movement abilities is really what makes it's really what makes Mythgard really the game it is. It's a really fun card for the movement ability. Merciless Coxinga is really the Swiss Army knife of purple. And Spirit Away is also part of the control side of the deck. Celestial Dragon, Daigoju, and Perfect Grade. These are the chonkers for the purple. Kenta Fire Tigan is an interesting inclusion, but it's there for the Swift, as the Swift really is nice with Impel, and it synergizes really well with Pentacle. So looking at this deck, you can really see that the deck tries to control the board with the spells, control the opponent's board with the spells, and push damage with the minions, and buff them, and it just comes together in a very interesting way. So I'll show my deck, my take on the deck as well. So this is my take on the deck. It's a bit different, as I'm not playing the Dobers. I don't know if this is correct, but the Dobers have felt really strong. But I also felt like we didn't really need them for our game plan, as we're trying to be a mid-range deck. But I think it's definitely Lakaz who's the authority on the matter. This is just my take. It's not more aggressive, as it doesn't have more early game, but it can finish games with the Volition, and it still plays the Yahui. The main difference here is that I play significantly less healing than Lakaz, without the Wonder Drugs, and I only play 1 Misanthropia, and I also don't play the Spirit Away. The reasons for this is that I'm trying to solidify this as a mid-range deck rather than a control deck. It's a completely different take, but it's still centered around the same idea. We're just trying to snowball the deck, really, the board really, with this deck. And there are some really neat additions here. Stadium Vulcan is one of my favorite yellow late game minions. Its 1 gem cost makes it very nice. It's not relevant here, but in different decks where we can cheat it out, it's very impressive. And the overrun really makes this very nice, as this is a deck that wants to finish the game quickly. It wants to finish the game in the mid game, as it's a mid-range deck. So the overrun definitely helps us push damage, and that's one of the main reasons I love the Stadium Hulking. I can definitely see myself cutting out the twins if you want to go a little bit budget friendly. I can definitely cut out the twins for two more stadium holders. I think they're that good. And On the purple side of things, I play four racers instead of one. And my intention of this deck is to start the curve at two, not at one, as uh, as these will benefit a lot from the Colosseum buff. So the starting at two at the starting our curve at two coast minions, it's really not that big of a deal in Colosseum, as we can definitely regain the tempo lost from if we are on the draw by just having the Colosseum buff land on one of our two drops, which is definitely really nice. It's also not the end of the world to have to play the clay effigy. It will get buffed. It's not the end of the world. It's really not that good to do that, but we usually want to play the clay effigy on the opponent side and keep trading into it early, or just give us a something to overrun over with the pentacle, which is a little bit of a big brain play sometimes, but it's really just it slows the deck a little bit, but I think overall I don't think the deck was that reliant on dopers. The dopers were really just trying to snowball from turn one, but I think running more two drops, especially ones like Battle Chef, which can help us solidify our board when we have board presence. And some interesting decisions I made here was Misfortune and Mutton. I think the main reason I play Misfortune here is because I really enjoy the card. I haven't been able to make it work in a lot of decks, but I think Colosseum really just gives us a chance to make Misfortune a decent card, as trading with Racer and Misfortune now draws us a card from the Colosseum, so that's very nice. Unlike previously, it felt like Misfortune was not worth that much, it was very costly, but now, if you look at it in terms of it drawing us a card and killing us a minion, it's comparable to Dark Passenger, that just keeps coming back to hand in some sense. It's really nice in Colosseum, as well as Mutton, as it also gives us a killing the 1/1 sheep gives us a Colosseum charge, so that's nice. The Shinobi Smoke is how we snowball the game with the Pentacle, and I think Shinobi Smoke is really should be changed somehow, as I don't think this is really healthy. But it is what it is, and this is how the game is like. So yeah, this is how we basically play the Shinobi Smoke, and if it sticks, we basically can deny the opponent from playing anything for the next 2 or 3 turns until the opponent is able to deal with it. Or even if we Pentacle on the Shinobi, the opponent is really in a very tough spot. Uh, I also play the God of Gamers, but Lakaz doesn't play the Ninetale Vixen, but it's definitely a consideration he told me about. That Ninetale Vixen could definitely fit in his deck. He just preferred the Tigan, I believe, for the Swift. And the rest of the deck is really more or less the same. However, I go less on the extreme side of purple. I don't play the Daigoju or the Celestial Dragon. My concern with Celestial Dragon is really not having enough gems to play it in 6, as it's strongest when it's played on curve, or even just cheated out. But the longer you wait to play the Celestial Dragon after 6, the weaker I feel it becomes, as it's very likely the opponent will have drawn a lot of answers. Even having a Miso Libre stun the Celestial Dragon feels very bad, as you don't really want the opponent to trade into the Celestial Dragon on their own terms. You want to swing at least once or twice with the Celestial Dragon before the opponent can have a chance to kill it. But I feel like this is not likely in this deck, even though definitely it can definitely come up sometimes. But I prefer to have my deck feel a little bit more consistent with the Terragons. There's also one thing to take into consideration, it's the number of the ratio of the colors Here I believe I play 18 and 22 in favor of purple. And I believe that playing a 3 cost, 3 gem card on 6 with this ratio, I think it's doable. It's definitely doable, but there's also the misanthropy that you want to burn 3 4, so you'd be you so it kind of makes the burning a little bit weird. It's definitely something that we can definitely take the perfect grade out. I haven't really been liking perfect grade in these mid-rangey decks as it's a bit too high cost. And yeah, the effect of perfect grade is really insane. It's really strong, but it doesn't really help when the perfect grade gets stuck in hand sometimes. It's just not worth it. So yeah, these are the 2 decks, and they're relatively different. They have very different. They have some different choices, but ultimately, really, they're just trying to do the same thing. They're trying to control the board with some of the spells, and snowball with the sticky minions that the deck plays. One thing I want to note about the Miso Libre with the Colosseum is that Miso Libre is very nice because because we can just buff it with Insta Beast next turn and take a very nice value trade. But it also dictates the trades in our favor, which is very nice for Colosseum. So yeah, this is it for the deck, and I will go over a couple of games with the decks. I think one of the games will be featuring Lakaz's original deck, and the second one will be featuring my own deck, my own take on the deck. So yeah, sit back and have fun, and I hope you enjoy the coming games. So the first game, I'm playing Lakaz's original submission, and it's against Roltoad, and he's playing a mono purple Colosseum deck. Now, mono purple and our deck, they're not that different. We're basically trying to do the same thing, especially with Colosseum. Both decks are trying to really just to snowball the boards, the Shinobi Smoke, the Pentacle. So we're not really that different.
Wild.
And the opponent here, I think, did not expect that this is the Shinobi of Wind. He expected that I would not be able to kill this. Even if I played the Pentacle here, I would be 2 damage off, I believe, as this has armor 1. So it will be left at 1, and I would have to impel the Shinobi Smoke if this was the Shinobi Smoke. It's not the Shinobi Smoke. So this is why this is really neat here, because the opponent really doesn't know, and he just assumes it's Shinobi Smoke. But I think this is where the opponent loses the game, to be honest. Because this is just too good for us. We get to swing face and deal 2 damage and kill this, and the opponent has to really waste his turn to deal with not even a significant part of our boards. We don't care about this. I think the opponent definitely could have double traded into the Shinobi of Wind. I don't know if that was correct to do, but the Shinobi of Wind is really is really not taken that seriously by most people. I think wrongly so, as it's very scary when it's left to go face, as it can control the board really well. So yeah, I'm just trying to capitalize on this advantage.
Swift.
And
Leave it all on the track. Leave it all on the track.
It doesn't feel like the opponent has much to do here. And this is what I'm talking about, the Shinobi of Wind. It's impossible to block with only 1 minion when we're using a bell. The opponent definitely did not expect that we'd have the second Pentacle, and this is just, we're so far ahead right now. We're definitely winning, and it's just a matter of just getting in the last bits of damage. And again, the opponent is at 1, and we're very comfortable here. There's no way we can lose this, or even just for the opponent to make a comeback. So yeah, this is the first game with Lakaz's deck. There is definitely And I'll be showing off my game with my deck. So we're up against Logic, and Logic did something really neat here, and he gave me the clay effigy, and so he ruined my pursuit because now the clay effigy gets the buff, which I thought was really funny during the game. I did not expect this would happen to me, but after playing this deck a little bit, every time I play against yellow, the opponent would just do this to me, and it feels really sad, but it was really funny to see it happen, and I started doing it to other Coliseum players as well, thanks to Logic. It's it's a really neat way to ruin their pursuit, but we still have the extra Coliseum charge, so it's not really the end of the world. And opening the double clay effigy means that I can just keep playing the clay effigy for the opponent and trading into it to give myself the clay the Coliseum charges. So this is a little bit funny when we're both giving each other our clay effigies. So yeah, there's not much happening here. I'm just drawing cards, giving the opponent the clay effigy. The 2 damage is really not that significant. The draw is much more important, and the opponent here is going to get this trade. And I don't really care that much.
Like smoke.
Clay effigy already did its job, and I'm more concerned about
Sweet.
removing the
Like smoke.
the opponent's draw than to take a value trade with the Shinobi Smoke. And I was definitely expecting a Misotropia, and I didn't feel like this was too bad for me. And I think the draw for the Stadium Hulkin was very nice here. But even then, I could just play the Shinobi Smoke, and it wouldn't be the end of the world. And we're just really top decking really well here, and this is really what the deck is meant to do. It's a mid-range deck, so our top decks are really meant to be in the 5 to 6 range, mana cost range. It's definitely not the most likely things to draw, but we're very happy to draw any of the Tarragons, the Twins, the Stadium Hulkins, even just the back channel captain, or any of the things that just allow us to push damage, which is all the deck is all about. And it's just a matter of finding the right way to finish the deck. And I think there's that was lethal
Leave
here.
it all on
And
the
this
track.
is just how Volition is kind of a broken card, and it shouldn't really be in this game. So my draws were really lucky, I think, and maybe in different games Logic would have definitely won. But this is just the deck working as intended. It's just doing the thing it should do, which is just being able to push damage, keep pushing damage. And yeah, Pentacle with Overrun is really a strong finisher, as the Slayer change definitely affected it, but it's not that impactful. It just loses 2 damage, I believe, or it really depends on how big the defender is. I think we could have pushed more damage if we put the Pentacle on that twin, as right now it doesn't do any damage, but the Slayer gets calculated first, so it would push I think 6 damage, and then 6 damage as well. So I think this on its own could have finished the game, I believe. I'm not really sure, but I haven't done the math here. But yeah, this is lethal anyway. So yeah, this is the deck working as intended. Really, there's not much to this game, and yeah. So yeah, these are the decks, and it was Lakaz who won giveaway from the deck submission contest that I made. And if you've watched this far, leave a comment and leave a like, comment, and subscribe for a chance to win another 400 mithril. One of the comments will be chosen for the giveaway for the 400 mithril. So yeah, I'll hope to see you in my next video.